The top stories of the week with added depth and also context from our team of reporters we here like to call the Daily Debrief. Hello everyone, I'm Ty Quinones. Well, viewers like you are asking for more depth, and here is exactly where you're going to find it. So let's jump right in.
An explosive 4th of July weekend expected to light up Las Vegas. It's listed as one of the top cities with the best fireworks displays. AAA projects 47 million will travel for the holiday, and 91% will hit the road.
Road trips are extremely popular. If you're going to be on the roads, you're going to be sharing that road with a lot of people.
Those road travelers are destined for Las Vegas now that Nevada is fully open.
I'm so grateful for
with several festivities planned, like EDM artist Selenium performing at Allegiant Stadium, the first major event to take place in the multi-billion-dollar venue.
$8.88. Thank you.
Here at Eminem's Smoke Shop near Allegiant Stadium, owner Muhammad Rusa says 4th of July weekend is always crazy.
You can imagine how will we be busy in the 4th of July.
Shutting down due to the pandemic was a mere hiccup for his business.
After 2 months, it was again crazy, the same thing. We got more business than regular days.
While Eminem's Smoke Shop welcomes the influx of customers, concerns of massive crowds linger. The Delta variant of the coronavirus worrying health officials nationwide. The Nevada State Laboratory has identified the newest strain even here in Clark County. While the World Health Organization says we should still wear masks, the CDC says fully vaccinated individuals should feel comfortable going out. But local doctors say there's not enough research about this new variant.
The vaccines that we have are pretty good. They're not 100%, and there's still that very small chance that we could still get the virus or transmit it.
Stories. I'm Jason DINANT, here with 13 Action News reporter Rachel Moore. Rachel, tell me a little bit about your package and your story today.
Well, today I was covering a lot of things, basically just 4th of July weekend. We're going to be experiencing a lot of travelers who are going to come into Las Vegas, especially since Las Vegas is one of the top destination sites for holiday travelers. Again, it was the same for Memorial Day weekend as well, so it's going to be the same for 4th of July weekend. And then because of a lot of travelers coming into the city, we have a lot of small businesses who are looking forward to those crowds coming in. But at the same time, we have health officials who are concerned of large crowds because of this new Delta variant that's spreading across the nation and has been identified here in Clark County.
Now, AAA is saying that this could potentially be one of the largest travel holidays ever. Tell us a little bit about that.
Ever. And, you know, you would think because the pandemic states are opening up, people are feeling more comfortable traveling now that more Americans are vaccinated and they want to get out of their house, cabin fever, right? They want to leave, they want to travel. They're feeling more comfortable traveling on the road, which is why 47 million people are expected to travel. 91% of that are expected to travel by car.
Now, with all of the travelers on the road, did AAA give you any tips or suggestions that travelers should be looking out for when they're getting ready to get into their cars on these road trips?
Yes, and you know, there are things that you wouldn't think to check for. Now you're coming, and I'll just speak for the Californians who are coming in from California to Las Vegas. They're coming to a hotter area. So while you're driving through the desert, I make that drive all the time when I go back home to LA. Driving through the desert, you want to make sure that your tires are checked. You want to make sure that your air conditioning is working. Because just breaking down on the 15 just is something you would not want to do.
I know you also spoke with Dr. Dahlia. What did she have to say in regards to the public health concerns that we are still in a pandemic and so many people coming to Vegas with a potential new variant?
Right. So there's a lot of concern, especially since we have two major agencies who are giving us mixed signals, where the World Health Organization is saying that we should still be wearing masks, and the CDC says that if you are fully vaccinated, you should feel comfortable enough to go outside. Now, when I spoke to Dr. Dahlia, she said the same thing, that the vaccinations are really good, except she says nothing is 100%. So not necessarily taking the steps of wearing masks, but she says to be smart, use some sense. If you're going to be in a crowded area, try not to get too close to strangers who aren't in your circle. Try not to hug or kiss or anything like that. Wash your hands. Make sure you wash your hands after basically going into public places. And then also, if somebody is sneezing or coughing, get away from them. You don't know what they have. Could be a common cold, could be Delta variant. Just be safe. And then also, if you are the person who is sick or sneezing, coughing, have symptoms of just maybe even just a cold, just stay at home and try not to spread.
So we all know the roads are going to be busy this weekend. We're going to bring back ZORA ASBERRY joining us live again to talk about crackdown this 4th of July.
That's right, Dave. Officers are going to be out. This is what they call the 100 deadliest days of summer. And what they do during this time is they're looking for drivers who are impaired under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And so they urge people to have fun, enjoy yourself this 4th of July weekend. But the most important thing is to be safe.
We want people to, again, enjoy our city, enjoy everything that has to offer. Just do it legally. Have a great time, but plan ahead. Make sure that you're not getting behind the wheel impaired, because that will ruin the weekend.
So we're going to continue to talk to NHP officials to learn the very latest on what they plan to do. But one cool thing that they are doing is they're offering $2 off of every Lyft ride. So they do have a partnership. You want to make sure to follow us online at ktnv.com for that promo code so that you can save some money on this 4th of July weekend.
We're inside the Animal Foundation, where hundreds of dogs and cats just like this are looking for their new forever homes. But the shelter is preparing for a possible influx of hundreds of pets through the 4th of July weekend. So we have a few tips to keep them safe and healthy. More pets go missing on 4th of July than any other holiday. Hundreds ran away last year, and now shelters across the valley are preparing for the possible influx this weekend. The loud sights and sounds of fireworks can lead to extreme anxiety for pets. Sometimes that leads dogs to dig under or jump over fences, even break windows in an attempt to get away. Experts say this weekend it's important we keep our pets indoors in a secure room whenever fireworks shows are likely. You can close windows, draw curtains, and play loud music or turn on the TV to drown out the fireworks sounds.
So a crate would be best. If you don't have a crate, you can also keep them in a small closet or a bathroom. Make sure there are their favorite items in there. So a blanket, a toy, you can use an industrial type fan or even music to drown out the sound of those fireworks.
If you know your cat or dog gets severe anxiety, plan ahead by discussing prescription options with your veterinarian. Veterinarians with the Best Friends Animal Society say milder anxiety can be helped with things like a thunder shirt, which swaddles your pet and comforts them. You'll want to keep your pets away from lit fireworks at all times. Some will chase after the bright lights, making them at risk for being burned or blinded. And keep unlit fireworks out of reach because they're toxic if ingested. Finally, make sure your pet has current ID tags and your contact information is recorded with your vet clinic or shelter. And if you'd like to help these dogs and cats have a home through the holiday, you can help. The Animal Foundation is looking for foster homes for large dogs and cats. We'll have those links for you on our website at ktnv.com. I'm KELSEY McFarland. This is Pocket 13 Action News.
We'll be back now with more of the Daily Debrief after the break. And welcome back to the Daily Debrief, an in-depth look at the top stories of the week. For more details on any of the stories that we're talking about here, just head to ktnv.com.
Well, if you've had trouble dropping off a lost dog or adopting a cat at the Animal Foundation recently, you're certainly not alone. Thanks for joining us live on TV, Android TV, or wherever you're streaming us right now. I'm Trisha Keene.
And I'm Todd Quinones. Well, shelter officials say the situation should get better. 13 Action News reporter Jeremy Chen right now is live at the Animal Foundation breaking down the changes that they are making there, Jeremy.
Yeah, Todd and Tricia, we've received messages from animal welfare advocates as well as groups about their frustrations about doing anything at the Animal Foundation, and they suspect that the shelter may be full. However, shelter officials tell me that is not the case, and they have made some changes during this week to help streamline any sort of process.
It's extremely frustrating for people who love animals and who are involved in the rescue community, not having that resource that is supposed to be available to us.
Resources Angie Swayze says her volunteers have been trying to access at the Animal Foundation. She's part of a group that helps round up stray or abandoned dogs and says the shelter was not accepting the dogs they were dropping off at Lost and Found.
So we've had a lot of complaints about stray dogs being turned away, being told that the shelter was full. We've had multiple complaints of owners trying to go down and reclaim their dogs.
Swayze and other animal welfare groups say the complaints include people trying to adopt dogs and having to make appointments to access services or wait hours. She believes the shelter may be full and that there's not enough staff. She wants accountability from the shelter.
We want responsibility on behalf of the animal control. We want transparency. We want accountability. We want someone to address these issues, and we want follow through.
The Animal Foundation says it's never at capacity.
We're an open admission shelter, so we take in every animal, no matter how sick or injured, and we're always making room for new animals to come into the shelter.
It says it's made changes over the past few days, with only the clinic requiring appointments. Lost and Found does not require an appointment, but is recommended. Adoptions are now only done through walk-ins with a waiting list.
We have an adoption promotion going on right now, so we're extremely busy. So the wait list may close out for the day, or maybe a several-hour wait to meet that pet.
Owners looking to reclaim their pets won't be able to go back in the kennels and find them, as the shelter says it's with the animals' welfare in mind.
It stresses the animals out, and that was something that we learned in COVID, so we wanted to continue that.
The shelter acknowledges it does have a staffing shortage and is actively trying to recruit more people.
Everything we do, we're doing it in the best interest of the animals and our team members, and just be patient with us.
Now, the Animal Foundation tells me they have prepared for weeks for the 4th of July weekend. That is when they will see an influx of pets coming in. Now, for those who don't know, this is actually the weekend when a lot of pets might get freaked out over the fireworks shows. They run away from home, and fortunately, if they're fortunate, they will get picked up by people and then given over to shelters like the Animal Foundation, where owners can come and reclaim them. Jeremy Chen, 13 Action News.
I'm Amy Abdel Sayed. Some people have reported trouble dropping off lost animals or trying to adopt new ones from the Animal Foundation. Jeremy, what does the shelter say about its processes?
So the Animal Foundation actually tells me they've actually made a few changes this week specifically. I know there were some complaints about, oh my goodness, I have to make an appointment or anything like that. Well, the only appointment you are required to make is if you have to go to the clinic, aka the veterinarian. If you're looking to adopt, that's strictly walk-ins only. However, there is a waiting list, so you kind of have to be patient because they are conducting kind of a promotion where all the adoption fees are waived. So obviously, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to go out and adopt someone. Adopt a pet, I should say. Now, there's also, if you're looking to go to Lost and Found, try to find your lost pet or drop one off. Appointments are recommended, but you don't need an appointment anymore starting today. So that should make things a little bit easier.
And we know 4th of July is usually historically a busier time of year for them. What is the shelter doing to plan for the influx?
So the shelter tells me they've been planning for a few weeks as far as trying to make sure they have enough room. They expect maybe a few hundred pets coming in and whatnot, have enough food and whatnot. So pretty much they're prepared. It is expected. They told me last year they had like 450 pets they picked up from all over the valley, from all the fireworks that were shot off, and scared pets running around, and lots of owners, as you can imagine, wanting to reclaim them. So that's pretty much how they're preparing.
Jeremy, thank you so much.
We'll be back now with more of the Daily Debrief after the break. And welcome back to the Daily Debrief, an in-depth look at the top stories of the week. For more details on any of the stories that we're talking about here, just head to ktnv.com.
It's amazing because it's Pride Month and it's the 52nd anniversary of Stonewall, so it's a special moment for my community.
When Catalina Enriquez was crowned Miss Nevada USA on Sunday night, she made history.
I'm the first trans woman and a trans woman of color, and it's time that our voices are heard.
Enriquez will also be the first trans woman to compete in Miss USA in the fall, where she'll represent Nevada. Representation of the trans community is something that Enriquez feels strongly about. Only recently being able to compete in cisgender pageants herself.
When I was young, I said that one day I hope to see someone like me on stage in Miss USA, and it just happened to be I was the person that I needed.
Selena McAteer is also a trans woman. She says the impact of Enriquez's win goes far beyond the pageant itself.
I was like looking through her Instagram story and everything. And one of the hashtags was you won it for us. And I was like, wow. Like, I wonder if she really knows.
McAteer says Enriquez could have saved a life last night.
There could have been like a young trans woman out there that was like down, and maybe she had never seen nobody that looked like her. And then like last night she might have watched the pageant or even seen it on Instagram or wherever. It was like, oh my gosh, she looks like me, or I look like her. And it's hopeful.
That's Miss Nevada USA's hope too, to tell her own story, share her own experience, and to make sure no one feels alone.
That's something I felt growing up, and that's the last thing that I would want anyone to feel. So if I could have and give that to someone, I think, well, it's an amazing time of my life.
Jackie KOSTEK, 13 Action News.
I'm Jason DINANT, here with 13 Action News anchor and reporter Jackie KOSTEK. And one of today's top stories is the Miss Nevada pageant has crowned its first ever trans winner. Now, Jackie, tell me a little bit more about this story and why this is so historic.
Yeah, so the woman's name is Catalina Enriquez, and she is from the Bay Area originally. She's been in Nevada, Las Vegas for the last a couple of years, I think she told me. And she had competed in trans pageants for years. And then just within the last year or so, she was able to start competing in cisgender pageants. And then she goes on to win Miss Nevada USA, which will now pave the way for her to compete in Miss USA in the fall. And she will, of course, represent Nevada, and she'll also be the first trans woman to ever compete in Miss USA, which is pretty cool that she's, representing Nevada too.
Now, this is Pride Month. Did she say that had any significance to winning during the month of June?
Absolutely. And actually, this is amazing. She's a multi-talented woman. She also is a fashion designer. She designs her own dresses for these pageants and actually makes them too, like sews them, like does all of the work, which I found fascinating and just amazing. And so her dress that she wore last night was actually a pride flag themed dress. So, there's all the colors of the pride flag, and it was so beautiful, and it was like sequin and just, her figure is amazing. Her hair is amazing. She's beautiful. And so, yes, she said that beyond just the dress, this moment, to have it happen during Pride Month, makes it even more significant, it's really cool.
Now, being that this is Pride Month, and for the viewers out there, we always want to give them more knowledge. And some people may not understand when you say the word cisgender pageant. Can you kind of explain that to the viewers?
What I've learned is that cisgender just means that the person identifies with the gender they were assigned at birth.
When you were talking with her, did she say anything in regards to what rules changed for these pageants that allowed her now to compete?
She just mentioned that there was a woman in Canada who had really fought the Trump organization at the time, who owned the Miss USA pageant. And that woman really fought to allow trans women to compete in these massive pageants that, of course, are the most well-known pageants in our country and and around the world as well. So that's what she mentioned. We didn't get too much into the details of it, but she really credited that Canadian woman for pushing for that.
We'll be back now with more of the Daily Debrief after the break. And welcome back to the Daily Debrief, an in-depth look at the top stories of the week. For more details on any of the stories that we're talking about here, just head to ktnv.com.